basic information related to what exactly mean by testing, and then we'll move on to our API testing concepts here. I mean, what today's main agenda is for this particular API testing, how exactly we can take care about manual testing activities. I mean, as part of API testing, if you want to be get implement with the manual, how exactly we need to be get understand with the requirements, and how exactly we can take care about test cases. I mean, nothing but we'll try to get understand the whole steps of STLC activity with the respective of API testing. Okay. So before this, just I'll give you the basic information related to the testing, right? Let's see that. So now the concept is we need to be get mentioned that software testing. So nowadays, if we look into this particular current market, it's mandatory that we have to take care about to test any kind of application. Without testing with the application, there is no chance of your project will move into live environment or production. Because even though the whole development has been done in the very perfect way, it's mandatory that we have to take care about in doing the testing. So testing is mandatory. Testing is mandatory in this particular current market. So if I'm taking that particular testing, we can take care about in implementing in the different ways. In that, we can take care about in saying that manual testing, and another one we can take care about automation testing, right? So if I'm taking with the software testing we can implement in the two ways. One is manual testing and another one automation testing, right? Now, if you want to be get take care about in implementing with any kind of testing, it's mandatory that you need to go with manual and automation. For example, see that if I'm taking this manual testing, we need to be get mentioning that the testing which has been done with the help of human interactions. The manual testing is we need to be get take care about in doing with the help of human interactions. Nothing but we have to take care about in doing the manual testing. Like we have to take care about launching with the browser, entering with the URL, entering with the username, everything we have to take care about in doing that particular respective manual testing. In the same way, we got taking care about in having with automation testing, which has been done by the tools. You have to take that particular respective tools. You need to be get take care about the respective tools, and then you have to take care about in implementing with automation testing. Now, if I'm taking with the current market, if I'm taking this particular current market, in this particular current market, how the demand has been done and how different kind of testings came into the picture. Everything related to software testing only. In that, we got a different types of testing, which we will be taking with functional testing. Okay, so the one you will be taking with functional testing, or we can mention that functionality testing. And another one which you will be taking with API testing, and then another one taking with database testing, and then you will be taking with performance testing. I mean, the main things, two main things, functional testing, API testing, and apart from that, you have a concept of database testing and performance testing. Now, if I'm taking with these particular things, if I'm just considering these particular things, when you're working with this particular API testing, when you're taking with this particular functional testing, this functional testing, you can go with in implementing with manual testing and taking with automation testing. In the same way, if I'm taking with if I'm taking with API testing also, I can go with manual and automation. Database also manual and automation. And at the same time, performance also, it can go with manual testing and then taking with this particular respective API, automation, anything, any kind of testings you want to implement it. See the understanding. Functional testing, it can go with functional testing, it can go with manual testing and automation testing. API testing, it can go with manual and automation. Database also manual and automation. Performance also manual and automation. For this current market, these two are very most important, functional testing and API testing. In that, manual testing process will be the same. So in case of you want to get implement with manual testing, you have to take care about the steps of STLC. Either you are working functional testing or you are working with this particular API testing or taking with database testing and then considering the performance testing, you need to be go with that particular STLC activities, which is mentioned out software testing life cycle, right? Automation testing, we mentioned like tools, right? If I'm taking with the automation testing, it has been done with the help of the tools. Related to functional testing, you can take care about the tools, which will be mentioning the Selenium, QTP. Nowadays, in the market, you are able to see that in having with different type of tools are there. Now, in case of API testing, this particular API testing, manually, it can be preferred in doing with the help of Postman. In case of automation, it will be preferred. It can go with in doing with REST assured, right? And if I'm taking with this particular database testing, this particular one is nothing but ETL testing. If you want to be go with as part of automation, you need to be take care about in detailed of ETL testing. In the same way, if I'm taking with performance testing, taking with load runner or taking with JMeter, these are some of the tools related to this particular performance testing tools here. I mean, the concept you guys need to be get understand is if I'm taking with software testing, when we are saying that software, you are not like restricted to any one particular technology or any one particular application. You can test banking applications, insurance applications, manufacturing applications, healthcare applications, or you can go with Java related application, .NET related application, Python related application. So any kind of application, your main concept is which we can mention the software testing. So any kind of software testing, any kind of software testing, it can go with manual testing and automation testing. So in that, we got functional testing, functionality testing, API testing, database testing, and performance testing. Now, our today's agenda, not related to functional testing, our today's agenda will go with API testing. So as part of API testing, in the today's session, we'll take care about in having the details of manual testing. Automation testing, you will understand in the coming sessions here. But as part of the today's session webinar, you will go with manual testing concept. So let's understand the more information, how exactly we can do this manual testing. And in future sessions, I will be giving the information related to the automation testing. Because in this particular current market, if you want to expect with the more calls, because only functional testing, you may not expect with the more calls, because the IT industry continuously it will be changing it. The client expectations will be the different. So just having only basic knowledge, you can't expect with the more calls in this current market. So you need to be make your resume, it's totally different. By that, you can expect the calls here. Okay, so let's go with started with API testing here. So we'll understand that how exactly we can take care about in implementing with these particular STLC activities. Okay, right. So first I'll give my explanation. After that, at the end of the session, for everyone, I will give enough time to get clarify all your questions here. Like maybe some people are totally new to the testing or whatever it can be. Whatever the questions you guys are having it, I will be giving with the enough time at the end of the session. So just you guys can wait. You guys can wait at the end of the session to get clarify all your questions here. I'll give an unmute option at the end of the session. So just you can wait it till the time of my explanation to be completed. Okay, let's start at that. Right. So this is the API testing session 2 we are doing. So this is like API testing session 2, right? So the session 1, which we have been already done, the session 1, which we have been already done. In case of anyone not attended with the session 1, you guys can refer this Naresh IT YouTube channel. If you refer Naresh IT YouTube channel, just you can click on the videos. If you just click on the videos, you will be able to see API testing session 1. Because if you go to this particular API testing session 1, definitely it will give you added advantage. Okay, so definitely it will give you added advantage to get understand what exactly the basics, what exactly the basics of API testing, you can understand it. If required, let me ping you this particular URL in the chat window. I'm just taking care about in giving with this particular URL in the chat window. So by that, you can take care about, and referring it. Okay. So I have been given the URL in the chat window related to the session 1. So if we go through that particular session 1, definitely can understand that like what exactly the concept of API, how API testing came into the picture, you can understand on it. Just I'll try to give the small overview within 5 minutes, and then we'll be getting started with our session 2, as part of API testing session 2, mainly we are taking care about in understanding with how exactly, okay, so how exactly we can implement this particular manual testing by the help of STLC steps. This is what our main agenda of session 2 here. But before going to that particular session 2, just I'll try to give brief overview related to session 1 just in 5 minutes, and then we'll be getting started with this particular session 2 here. Okay, right. Let's move on that. Right. Now, let's understand that what exactly mean by that particular API concept here. See that. Just to understand in a very simple way, the concept of API. You guys can go through this particular diagram. It will make you more comfortable to understand what exactly the concept of API is. The main concept of API, we have to take care about. We need to be take care about in confirming that sending with the request to the server and then getting with the response to the server. As part of API testing, you have to take care about in sending with the request. You need to be get send with the request to the server, and then you need to be get response from the server. You will take one respective URL and you will be sending with the request to the server, and you will get the response to the server. So that request and response has been working correctly or not, you have to test it. So how you will confirm? To confirm that your request and response has been correct or not, you will be taking with the status code. As part of API testing, you will be taking with different type of status code will be there. Just need to be get comfortable in having the status code, and they will decide the API functionality working correctly or not. Like 200, we can say that okay, or we can say that successful. And taking with 201, which we can say that new request created. We can say that new request created. I mean, in this way, different type of status codes are there. By referring that particular status code, you can understand that how exactly we can decide that that particular request and response has been working correctly or not. Now, for that, I just given with a very general example. Like if you take with any of the restaurant, this particular waiter, you can consider as a API. In simple, our regular terminology, mediator. That API is nothing but mediator between two applications. If I'm taking with the API, we can say that mediator between two applications here. It will take with the request from one application. It will send that request to another application. It will take the response from that application, and it will be giving the response to the required application. Just you can look into this diagram in the very simple way you can understand. So here, this particular waiter is an API, taking the request, sending the request, and getting the response and giving that particular response here. Okay. Now, if I'm taking with this particular API testing in the market, we are having different type of APIs are there, like SOAP API, RPC, WebSocket, REST API. Lot of APIs are available in the market. And we have different type of APIs also. We can say that private API, which is like restricted to the respective organization. You can't utilize that particular API outside of that organization. Public APIs, which is open to anyone. If I'm taking with that particular public API, which has been open to anyone can access that particular API. And taking with partners, if I'm taking with the partners means in that particular specific company, the groups, multiple groups, not like with specific group, that particular multiple group can take care about accessing that particular partner API. And then composite API, which you will be taking care about in combining two different type of APIs here. Just you can look into this diagram in the very simple way you can understand. One is public API, another one partner API, another one internal API, and then composite API. Right? So this is a basic. As part of API testing, you need to be take care about in conforming that particular logic. Like there is a concept of three-tier architecture. When you're taking with the concept of software architecture, one-tier architecture, two-tier architecture, three-tier architecture. What is mean by that? In detail, you will understand in the coming sessions here. I'll try to take one more session only related to architecture concept, like what is mean by one-tier architecture and what is mean by two-tier architecture, what is mean by three-tier architecture. You will understand in another session here. Okay, just if we look into that, you can easily understand this to confirm that your presentation layer, application layer working correctly or not, you will go with functional testing. Business layer working correctly or not, you will go with API testing. Database layer working or not, you will go with database testing. Combine of all these things working correctly or not, you will go with performance testing. So the main advantage of API testing, language independent. I mean, the project can be developed in Java language, .NET, Python, anything. It doesn't make any problem here. And moreover, as part of API testing, there is no concept of GUI. In case of functional testing, you got any GUI concept. But if I'm taking with this particular API testing, there is no concept of GUI. It's totally independent. And moreover, it will help you to improve your test coverage also. This particular API, it will help you that to go with your test coverage also. And it will be more faster than functional testing. It will be more faster than functional testing here. Right? So whenever you are taking this API testing, this particular API testing, mainly you need to be take care about. Right. So if I'm taking with this particular API testing, this API testing mainly we have to take care about in utilizing with these four methods: get method, post method, delete method, and put method. So get method, we can say that it's like read only. Get method is, it's like read only, which will take you that sending with the request and getting the response. Post method, you want to create with the new request. If you want to create with the new request, then you will be taking with post method. And then you will be taking with delete method. If I'm taking with the delete method to get delete with the request, put method, you will be updating with the request. Right? To confirm that these particular request and response has been working correctly or not, you will be taking with API response code. So based on these particular status codes only, based on these particular status code only, you have to take care about in confirming that particular request and response has been working correctly or not. Okay, so this is what an overview. You can just refer with the session 1 in YouTube, so you will get the clear picture. So now we'll move on to our main concept of session 2, how exactly we can take care about in implementing with manual testing. Let's see that. It can be any kind of testing, any kind of testing of manual you have to take care about in implementing with the steps of STLC. You have to take care about in implementing with the steps of STLC. I mean software testing life cycle. So as part of STLC, what are the steps need to be done? Mainly, we will take care about in understanding the requirement. Requirements understanding. After that, test plan. After that, test scenarios. And then test cases. After that, test execution, which need to be get taken care about, which need to be get take care about test execution. And after that, taking with bug reporting. If required, you will be taking care about test closure activity, right? So which you can considering that, which you will be taking with test closure. So this is what you have to take care about in implementing with this particular manual testing. Now, these particular manual testing steps will be the same for any kind of testing. Functional testing you are doing, API testing you are doing, database testing you are doing, or performance testing or any other testing. These particular steps will be the same. Just you will see the difference in the way of documentation. The implementation activity, it will make you the difference. As part of requirements understanding, you have to take care about in referring with different type of requirement documents. As an example, BRS document, SRS document, and taking with FRS document. Now assume that you are taking care about API testing. When you guys are working in the real time, what exactly the project you are working related to that particular project, you will be getting with SRS document. Your client will take care about in providing with SRS document here. So this is how you will be having with SRS document. I mean, now you can see that a lot of details will be there in the SRS document, like related to the functional testing. In case of taking with the API testing, related to API testing also, related to API testing also, you will be getting that particular API documentation. So functional testing, you have to understand the requirement. API testing, you need to understand the requirement. Database testing, you have to understand the requirement. Whatever it can be, any kind of testing you want to perform, any kind of testing you want to perform, you have to take care about in understanding the requirement. Without understanding the requirement, you can't take care about that particular testing activities, because testing is done based on the client requirements only. It's not like you are doing by your own, right? So your client has been giving with the requirements. According to the client requirement, application is working correctly or not, we need to test it. So this is how you can expect the requirement document in the real-time projects. and your real-time job role, that is what exactly how to do it. So you have to take care about understand the requirement. Then need to come up the plan. This test plan, most of the time, taking care by the test lead. I mean, as a tester, as a just software tester or just senior tester, mainly you are not aware of that. Your test lead will take care about in coming up with the plan. As a tester, what you have to do, you have to take care about, in designing test scenarios. What is it? Designing the test scenarios. What is the meaning of test scenarios? We can say that in simple, what need to be tested. What need to be tested in that application according to the requirement document. According to the requirement document, what need to be tested. And it got test cases, which you can say that how to be tested. Test scenarios, what need to be tested. Test cases, how to be tested. In the same way, you got in a test execution also. The test execution, you can say that comparison of expected, result with actual result. Expected result with actual result. Then you will go with bug reporting. I mean, we can say that documenting the issue. What exactly the issues are there need to be take care about in documenting that particular issues. So this is how the job role of the tester. Now assume that as a tester you're working in the real time. As a real time in the office, you have to take care about in understanding the requirement, and you have to prepare test scenarios. You have to prepare test cases. You have to go with the test execution, and you have to go with bug reporting. And this test closure activities, most of the time, taken care by test manager. The test manager will be taking care about these particular test closure activity. So this is how need to be get taken care by each and every particular job role here. So now what we will do is, well, refer the requirement document. By referring with the requirement document, how to prepare test cases related to API testing. Related to API testing, how we can prepare the test cases, that we'll understand for the today's session. In coming sessions, in future, we'll take care about in doing with test execution. And after that, we'll understand that how we can identify the bugs by using API testing, right? How we can identify the bugs by using API testing, and how to report with the bugs, that you will understand in the coming sessions here. For today, mainly we'll take care about how to document test cases. Okay, let's see that. Let's start on that. I'll clarify all your questions at the end of the session. At the end of the session, I'll give enough time to clarify all your questions. Okay, right. See that. So if you want to write with the test cases, first need to be very clear about. Taking with requirements. Let's refer the requirement document. Now, this is how you can expect with the requirement document here. In this particular requirement document, just the basic information related to what is meant by API testing and what is that particular URLs, and then different type of status code. Okay, so now mainly we are taking care about what are the things need to be get tested. So whenever you want to be test with the or when you want to perform API testing, URL is playing the very important role. What is it? URL is playing a very important role in doing the API testing. Along with that, the respective functionalities. These two main things you can do that. One is related to URL and another one which you will be taking with this particular status code, different type of request. Now, see the basic information when you're taking with the URL, mainly how to take care about the protocol. You need to test with the protocol. You need to take care about in testing with domain address, and you have to take care about server address and then query parameter and special characters in that particular URL. Because that particular request, that URL need to be correct, right? In case of that URL itself is not correct, now I got google.com. So if this URL is I'm giving the correct, then only I can get the proper response. For example, I'm trying to give, say that, if I'm trying to give that google1.com, and then I'll click on enter. If I'm just clicking on enter, now we can see that. So it can't get with the correct result. So that is how, as part of API testing, mainly you are taking care about and sending with the request to the server and then getting with the response correctly or not. If I'm giving with the URL Google one and Google page got open, that is not the correct thing, right? Okay, so that is how we have to take care about, understand what exactly that particular requirements provided by the client. According to that, you have to take care about in implementing that particular respective test cases. So we got some requirement related to the URL, and we got some requirement related to the particular status code, like mainly get request and then taking with post request, put request, and delete request. So first, we'll try to go with the URL. We'll try to write some test cases, and if possible, we'll continue writing with understanding in a more detail in one more session also. So let's get started in writing the test cases. Now, this particular test cases, when you're writing with the test cases or this particular whole manual testing, we can write the test cases in test case template. We can go with test case template, or we can use with the tool. As an example, we can go with the Zero tool also. Either we can go with test case template, or we can take with the help of the Zero tool also. For now, I'll go with in doing test case template. In future, I'll go with in Zero tool here. So if I'm taking with the test case template, the meaning of template, certain format. According to that particular project, certain format will be there. According to that particular respective format, according to that particular respective format, you have to take care about documenting the test cases. Now, we are already having that particular template. So I'm having with the test case template for one of my project here. So just will go with this particular template, and then we'll be writing with this API test cases. Okay, see that. Right. So this is what we are taking with that particular test case template. According to that particular template, we need to take care about in writing that particular respective test cases. Now, you can see that what exactly all the columns of this particular template. Like project ID, you need to be provided. Like what exactly your project ID is related to. Okay, so what exactly your project ID is related to. For example, I'm just giving 0001. Project name. So what exactly the project you are testing, you need to provide that particular project name. In case of banking, I'll just mention that banking project or the specific name. And created by, this created by, you will go with name of the tester. Okay. Name of the tester who has been documenting it. Reviewed by like test lead. So in the real time, who exactly were test lead, you need to provide that particular test lead name. Approved by also, you will provide with the test lead. Date created, you will be mentioning that on which date you are creating it, and date reviewed, when test cases will be reviewed. These are very general information, but mainly need to be taking care about these particular columns. In taking with test case ID, design steps, that particular steps to be followed, and request URL, expected status code, expected result, actual result, and actual result of body. Is the test case pass or fail or not executable, or is there any defects or there? You can provide the defects, or in case of any comments, we can provide with the comments. So it's not like mandatory that in all the projects will go with the same kind of the test case template, but this is in general, we can utilize this particular template. So by taking with the help of this particular template, we have to come up with writing the test cases. Let's see that. Let's go with the requirement. SRS document. Now, first what we have to test it in the URL HTTPS protocol. So according to this particular project, it's mandatory that URL need to be provided as a HTTPS. In case of other than HTTPS, any other protocol, it has to be reported as a bug. So we have to test this functionality. So how we can test it, how we can write the test case. Let's see here. First, test case ID TC001. This is test design step. Test design step, how we have to test it. This particular whole manual testing, we are taking care about in implementing with the help of the Postman. So because of that, I'm writing with the test steps according to the Postman. In case of rest assured, slight difference will be there. So PY, slight difference will be there. I'm writing with the steps with the respective of Postman tool here. Okay. First, launch Postman tool. First step is launch Postman tool. I mean, what exactly you want to test it? What is the functionality you want to test it? You need to write all that particular steps. So first, launch Postman tool. After that, select get request. Select get request because I want to test that URL, right? So in the URL, that particular protocol HTTPS, I want to test it. So I'll be taking select get request. After that, enter URL, enter URL, and then click on enter URL. After that, click on send button. Click on send button. And after that, verify status code. Verify status code. So very simple, guys. Any kind of the testing, we can go with in the very simple things. Just you guys need to be little bit comfortable in understanding the testing concepts here. Once you got the testing concepts, very easily we can take care about in testing with very easily. You can take care about in testing with any kind of testing or any kind of application. You can test it. Okay. So we got this particular design step. After that, what is the next one? Request URL. So you given with that particular enter URL, right? So what is the URL you want to test it? You need to be get provide that particular URL. Okay. So for example, for now, I need to be get, I got this particular URL. So I need to be get provide that particular URL. So the same URL, let me take from the project. I'll just take from the project here. Right. So we'll be getting providing that particular URL. You need to be get provide that URL. And now expected status code, because mainly you have to take care about the status code. So here, what will be the status code? We need to be get status code as a 200. So now this is what you are writing expected status code, expected result. The meaning of expected result based on requirement document. Based on requirement document, you are taking care about that particular status code. Actual result based on application. In the application, what exactly the result you are able to see, based on that, you have to provide actual one. So for now, at the time of documenting with the test cases, at the time of documenting with the test cases, you will be taking care about up to expected result. Now, this particular expected result, what will be the expected result? We can say that request and response should be successful. Request and response should be successful. What is the actual status, actual result? That is like test execution. For now, we are in the steps of test cases only. The today's session, I'm just talking about only test cases here. Test execution, you will understand in the coming sessions. When you're doing with the test execution, you will be taking care about providing actual result. This is one test case. Positive. The same thing, you can go with a negative also. You can go with negative test case. See that how we can write it. Test case 2, steps will be the same. Taking with launch postman tool, select a get request, enter URL, enter URL with HTTP, or this is, you can mention that enter URL HTTPS. Now you need to be get provide that particular URL. So you need to be get provide that particular URL. It should be HTTP. Okay. Now we are taking with status code. The status code should be, we are giving with the HTTP, right? So according to the application, it's need to be accept only HTTPS. In case of HTTP, it has to give an error. That URL should not be not found. So that means status code 404. See the requirement document. You can get that particular status code details also. If I'm taking with the 404, I think 404 is not there. Okay, 404 is not found. So that means as I'm giving with the different URL, so it has to be say that 404. Okay, and then expected result is error message. In the body, error message has to be displayed, which we can say that error message should be displayed. Error message should be displayed. Okay, so after that, so this is how you can go with the positive test cases and you can go with the negative test cases. That is what you are testing. Whenever you are taking with the testing activities, you have to go with the positive testing and you have to go with the negative testing. It's mandatory. Only positive is not at all enough. Only positive is not at all enough. It's mandatory that you have to go with the positive test cases and you have to take care about negative test cases here. And after that, I will be taking with test case 3. Okay, we'll be taking with test case 3. This particular test case, still we can write some more negative test cases also we can write it. You guys can think about it. For now, I'm just moving to another requirement. So first I done related to protocol. What is the next one? Related to domain address. Related to domain address. Mainly domain address either .com or .in, .fo. Main things. Other than this, if you're trying to give another domain, it has to give an error message. Let's see how it is working. Now, I'll go with other steps, taking with launch Postman, or I will be taking launch Postman tool and taking with select get request. Select taking with get request. Okay. After that, taking with the third step, enter URL, enter URL with .com domain, with .com domain, and taking with fourth step, click on send button, click on send button. Fifth step, you will be taking with verify status code, verify status code. So for now, I'm just taking with the same URL. I'm just providing the same URL. So we given with the .com correct, right? Basically, this is .in. According to this application, it should be .in. Now, as we given the correct one, that particular request and response should be successful. So as part of this project, I have to go with particular .in. It need to be successful. Okay. Then I'll be taking with test case 4, which I will be taking with test case 4. Again, I will go with the same thing here, which I will be mentioning about taking with launch Postman tool, launch Postman tool. Nothing but I'll just copy the same. I'll just copy the same. Right. So here I will be taking with .in, right? So here, rather than taking with this particular .in domain, I'll just go with some other thing. For example, .info I'll be providing. Okay. So .info I'm just providing. So by that, I'm giving with the wrong details, right? As I'm giving with the wrong details, in a place of .in, I'm taking with .info. So then it has to give an error. Taking with 404, that it has to take care about error message. So this is how you guys need to be get look into that particular requirement document. According to that particular requirement document, you need to be get coming up with in taking care about writing all the test cases here. So this is how you can take care about writing with the test cases. Once you got comfortable in writing with the test cases, in the same way you can take care about, in the same way you can take care about in executing the test cases and doing the bug reporting. Okay, so just try in this way. Just you guys can try in this way. I'll try to take one more session related to the test cases only. I'll try to take one more session related to the test cases in writing more number of test cases. And after that, I'll go with the session of in doing with test execution and then bug reporting. So that is what you have to take care about in doing with API testing for any kind of the project. Any kind of the project you want to be tested, you need to be get go with in the same way here. Okay, so the same session will try to get upload in a YouTube also. So in case of if you guys are require the more details, you can think about in doing with the training program. So for that, if you just go to this particular Naresh IT website, if we go to this particular Naresh IT website, you will be able to see that a lot of new batches related to the testing. So in this, we have in a plan of to go with the new batch related to this particular testing part also. Just if you look into this, you can refer this particular URL, you can understand what are all the new batches are there. So we have in a new batch. Okay, so we have in a plan on 16th, like 5:30 p.m. In that particular batch, you will be able to get to know all the things here, like manual testing, automation testing of Selenium, API testing, Postman and REST assured, database testing, SQL, performance testing, JMeter, even Chart GPT. Lot of things you will be able to get as part of the training program. So if anyone thinking about to start with the career as a tester, you can think about this particular training program. Okay, but